A little bit of local news over the weekend. Councilman Victor Hernandez defending his stance on SB 185. A story from Fox, Lubbock City Councilman Victor Hernandez not backing down. He said not only is Senator Perry a racist and a bigot, but the bill is politically driven. If you remember the open letter to Senator Perry, Councilman Hernandez said Senate Bill 185 is, quote, an act of terrorism against the Hispanic community. Perry strongly disagrees, said he's disappointed with Councilman's choice of words. It is more than 300 sharp words. Hernandez wrote on Facebook, the time for politeness has expired. SB 185 is a pretense for outright racism and bigotry. Remember, he also called Perry a racist and a bigot. Said that the bill would purge Hispanics from Texas. Hernandez says, quote, it's not my phrase. It's being said statewide. It's being said by his fellow senators and other House members. Hernandez's attacks against senators about his bill on sanctuary cities. Quote, he needs to take ownership of his Senate bill. I think he has, Victor. I don't think that Charles Perry is backing down. When he called into the show on Friday, it didn't sound like Perry was backing down. He needs to take ownership of the Senate bill. He can't do something, take a position that is racist and bigoted, then say, quote, I'm not racist and bigoted. It makes no sense logically. Oh, Victor, the words that you are that I can't say. Well, I could say them, but then I'd be thrown off the radio, and that wouldn't be good. You probably all know what I'm thinking anyway. Can't take a position that's racist and bigoted, and then say I'm not racist and bigoted. Well, Victor would know something about taking stances that are probably racist and bigoted, wouldn't he? Hell, if he can throw it out there, I can too. Victor, if you're making crap up, everyone else can about you as well. You're accusing Charles Perry being racist and bigoted, and no one's going to call you on it. You know, the reporters out there, they're not going to call you on it. They're not going to ask you to recite the bill. You think if you went up to Victor Hernandez and asked him to recite the bill, you think you could? You think if you were holding a copy of SB 185 and asked him exactly what was in it, you think the guy could? Of course he could. And he's terrible. Now, he's accusing Perry of playing politics. That's exactly what Victor's doing. And I've had people email me saying, well, maybe Victor's going to challenge Charles Perry. Oh, please. Please let that happen. Oh, I would. Okay, Victor. Wouldn't that be a Democratic primary out here in Lubbock? Brian Carr versus Victor Hernandez? Oh, I would love that. Just for the entertainment value alone. Just the entertainment value alone of Victor versus Brian than one of them against Charles Perry. Oh, that would be beautiful. You know, the Republicans could just pop champagne bottles every single day. The Fox story, SB 185 would allow law enforcement to ask about immigration status when arresting or detaining a suspect. Cities that don't comply would lose state funding. That's not even exactly true. You see, these reporters, they don't read the bill. They don't understand what's in it. SB 185 does not ask police officers to ask about immigration status. Nowhere in the bill does it say an officer has to inquire about immigration status. All it says is that cities can't prevent an officer from doing that. And this is where the news media, and trust me, they're bad about this on the national level. They're terrible at it on the local level, because what you have is and I don't mean really any offense at the local reporters. They don't know any better. They're told at either the beginning of the week or on that day, they're told, hey, go cover a story. And so they don't have any time to prepare. Now, I do think you have a couple of good reporters out there that probably do at least do a little bit of research. But the vast majority will just get out there and report a story. And then they get things that are wrong. Hernandez says it's a paper tiger. Hernandez said there are no sanctuary cities in the state of Texas. Well, a lot of people would dispute that. Look at Houston. There's some constitutional constraints here that some people seem to forget. The federal government is in charge of immigration, not local law enforcement. Well, Victor, guess what? That is true, and that's what this bill defends. This is, again, Victor Hernandez not having, comprehension skills. This is Victor Hernandez, either one, being ignorant, or number two, being an outright liar. Victor Hernandez doesn't understand what he's talking about. Victor, you're right. This is about local municipalities enforcing immigration law, but also it's about local municipalities coming in and saying we can't prevent officers from asking about immigration status. In other words, it's about local municipalities banning the local municipalities from not enforcing current U.S. law. That's what this is about. It doesn't force police officers to ask about immigration status. It gives them that ability. If they want to ask, they can. All it says is, you, Victor, and your liberal city council can't come in and pass an ordinance forbidding officers from asking about immigration status if they want to. And by the way, the only time they can is if they pull somebody over. That's it. Or if somebody's already under arrest, if they're already being detained, this has to happen while another crime is being committed. It's just like cops just can't randomly pull you over and ask for your driver's license. You have to be breaking the law. It also doesn't allow kids to be questioned. So for all those lefties out there who are saying that children will be targeted in schools, you're just stupid. You're either ignorant or you're a liar, if that's what you're passing along online. But that's how the left operates. They don't want to inform citizens. This is why the left wants everybody out there to vote. They want everyone out there because they know that most people don't pay attention to this stuff, unfortunately. They know that most people don't educate themselves on what a bill says, on what a piece of legislation says. So you have people like Victor and other bloggers out there who will get online and then they'll talk about how racist Charles Perry is and about how this is hateful and about how it'll break up families and about how you'll have kids go to school and they'll be questioned just because they walk in, they look Hispanic, they're going to be questioned. And it's all BS. But there are so many people on the left, they buy into this. They believe it's racially motivated. They believe that Charles Perry is an old white guy just wanted to target Hispanic people. And the reason so many people believe that is because you have a bunch of people like Victor Hernandez running around. Or as we started calling him on Friday, Reverend Vic. Who just wants to run around, play the race card, not actually care about the people he pretends to care about. He doesn't care about the Hispanic community. Victor cares about himself. And you know that's true, Victor. You only care about yourself. You don't care about the people in District 1. You haven't for years. You haven't since you were elected. The first time. You care about yourself. You care about your own ego. That's it. You care about scoring cheap points by going after white politicians. That's it. That's all you care about. Well, so if Victor really wants to talk about who the racist in all this is, I don't know, Victor. Why don't we go through your record? Victor, why don't we go through your record of who you criticize and how you criticize them? Why don't we go back to when the assumed governor was in town and you decided to speak for the entire Hispanic community and said that Greg Abbott came in to our house uninvited. Guess what? He was invited by the owner of the Hernandez Bakery, who endorsed him. And then, Victor, you called Abbott's wife a prop. Well, Victor, you know what props are. You use them all the time. That'd be people in District 1. That'd be you scarfing down a hot dog at the picnics, you waddling around, eating a hot dog after hot dog, going, I care about these people. These are my people. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm sure they're your people, Victor. You still live next door to the country club, right, Victor? Yeah, those are your people, aren't they? 770-5790, toll free, 1-800-687-0790. We'll be right back. On Victor's Facebook page, well, that's where Victor rants. Of course, Victor, he could call into the show if he wanted to. I like that to happen. But Victor, if it gets back to Victor, Victor can always feel free to dial in. That'd be perfectly fine. Victor Hernandez, I guess he was quoting somebody. I don't know if this entire post is a Facebook post that he quotes or if he writes about it. But either way, if you're posting on your Facebook page, he's okay. Victor's actually responding to a question. Victor posted this yesterday he believes that SB 185 is hate legislation. And this is what Victor, he's responding to a question from some constituent out there who asked, what is SB 185 really all about? So Victor doesn't really understand what it's all about. So he writes this. So what is Perry's real reason for SB 185? In my opinion, it's to further an extreme right Tea Party agenda of hate. To continue to fuel that fire. That illegal immigration is the root of all of our country's woes. I don't think anyone really believes that. Victor, I think people like you are at the root of our country's woes. Victor writes, I believe that the Tea Party, this is Victor Hernandez. Those of you at the city council, just listen to what your comrade says. I believe that the Tea Party wishes the American people to hate illegal immigrants to the point of extermination. This guy's lost it. So far, the Tea Party has been successful in distinguishing illegal immigrants into an us versus them classification, has heavily promoted the name illegal immigrant. Hey, Vic, that was around for a long time. Heavily promoted the name illegal immigrant as a symbol of the classification, using laws to deny rights of the group, and is denying the humanity of the group, equating them with animals, vermin, and diseases, using hate groups, broadcast polarization, propaganda, thus driving the groups apart, and using the extremist terrorism, SB 185, whose purpose, there are other reasons for SB 185 as well, to intimidate and silence the center. And use the euphemism counterterrorism to cloak their true intentions and use the fear of illegal immigrants to indoctrinate the populace. Victor says only 3 additional steps are left for the extreme right: to identify and separate out illegal immigrants because of their immigration status, the extermination of illegal immigrants, and the denial of any crimes against illegal immigrants have been committed. This is what Victor thinks. This guy's a whack job. He sits on the city council. Meanwhile, I believe the rest of the city council stayed silent. Hey, Jim Girl, you're allies with Victor most of the time. You believe what this guy is saying? Would love to know.